Well, a very good afternoon and welcome to yet another edition of the Uckfield Business Podcast with me, Ian Noble, from the Uckfield Chamber of Commerce. And with me this afternoon is Claire Allen, our Chamber Treasurer. And Claire's going to do most of the heavy lifting today in this pod by interviewing our guest in a minute. But good afternoon, Claire. How are you?
Hello, Ian. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. Yeah, looking forward to interviewing Michelle today. So, finding out all about her and her business. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we have Michelle Clark joining us shortly from Happy Me Dance. So Claire will do the introduction of Michelle shortly. But before we get into that, Uckfield's a great place to live and work, isn't it, Claire? I mean, we all agree with that one, don't we?
Definitely. I don't live here, but I certainly work here. I absolutely love Uckfield. It's a buzzing, thriving town, isn't it? And a fantastic place to run a business from, I have to say.
It is. And when people visit Uckfield that don't know the town very well, they often say to me, what a great town, what a great place. Not many empty units and empty shops, lots of independent stores. Yes, we've got our fair share of charity shops and other services like barbers and nail bars and that kind of thing, and coffee shops. But it all adds to the variety of the high street. Now, we do know, Claire, that the high street is suffering a little bit at the moment. And do you know why that is?
Maybe because it's a bit of a struggle to get your car up through the town at the moment. I'm sure most people would agree with that right now.
Absolutely. So, look, if you're local, then avoid using the through route if you can. At key times, use the bypass. But of course, for a lot of people, that's not an option. They've got to use that thoroughfare from north to south through the town. And the four-way lights at the top of the town, due to the securing of the Maiden's Head building to make it safe, is causing problems. Now, I just want to say on this podcast and put it on record that the Chamber of Commerce, very aware of this. We've been talking with the Town Council, who are also really concerned. And we'll be talking with Wealden and Highways to try and expedite these repairs on the Maiden's Head building and to improve the traffic lights in the interim so that we try and get Uckfield moving again. But really, just please get the message out that Uckfield, of course, is very much open for business, and notwithstanding these traffic lights and the delays that it causes, please support local business. We really want our local traders to be supported, because we do know, not just anecdotally, but we've heard from some that the footfall has fallen a little bit in recent times because of these temporary works. Look, enough of this, Claire. Let me get off this podcast for a moment. I'm going to disappear from the screen, and you're going to interview our guests. So I'll see you in a bit.
Thanks, Ian. Thank you very much. So yes, I'm just going to welcome. Here she is, Michelle Clark. Hello, Michelle from Happy Me Dance. She's our guest this week, and I'm very much looking forward to finding out all about her business. I've not actually met you before, Michelle. It's the first time we've met, isn't it, on today on the podcast? So welcome, Michelle. You want to say hi to our audience?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's really nice to be here. Thank you for having me. So I'm excited to talk to you too, Claire.
Fantastic. And where are you talking to us from today? You're in Uckfield.
I am in Uckfield. I'm at home. So, I've not had to experience the traffic problems so far. I will be edging out shortly. So
dipping your toe out, yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to apologise for all the movement behind me. I'm actually not at my normal desk today. We've had internet problems here, and so you may find people walking around behind me. I hope it doesn't disturb things.
Oh, wow.
So, Michelle, we're going to get straight in and find out a little bit about you first before we talk about your business. Tell us about your background. How, where did you start? What was your first job? How did you get into this career?
Oh, okay. Well, I've been dancing most of my life, as you would probably imagine. So, I started dance actually really for a therapeutic reason, because when I was born, I was actually born breech. My poor mum used to have to put you in these boots, the crazy boots. It seems very archaic and very old, to help your feet turn out. And I wasn't, as you can imagine, too happy about that as a toddler. Basically, my mum took me back to the doctor, and he said, look, why don't you just take her to ballet classes? So at the age of 3, I started taking ballet classes and loved it. Obviously, the freedom of movement, and became quite an avid dancer after that. and then had the opportunity to do modern and jazz and musical theatre. And yeah, so developed all that locally. I was born in Tunbridge Wells in Kent, and I went to the Lee Theatre School. It's a school which is now run under the name Associates with Sally Ann Lee and Sian Dunlop. So I had many happy years there. And Sally, she also was involved heavily with a local Tunbridge Wells society called the Kentainers. And I used to have the opportunity to do a lot of musical theatre, which I absolutely loved. So at the age of 16, I had a place to go to London Studio Centre. But I was then also doing dance at school and had a contemporary dance teacher who really inspired me. At that time, you couldn't do sort of a degree and dance. You had to sort of choose. It's very different because now you can go to a conservatoire and you get to do both. But at that time, it was still quite traditional. So I ended up staying at school and doing A-levels. And then when I got to 18, I decided that absolutely, mum and dad, please now let me do my dance. So I did a dance degree at Middlesex University and was given the opportunity to travel to Memphis. So I also experienced quite a lot of theatre and drama in Memphis. And then my first job was at the Brit School, which is a performing arts school in Croydon, and was really the most exciting job that you could have as a 21-year-old. So that was the beginning of my career.
Gosh, yes, there are not many people that haven't heard of the Brit School. What were you actually doing there?
Yeah, so I started the Brit School as a teacher of dance, and then there was a principal called Claire Venables. She went on after the Brit School to become the Director of Education at the RSC, and she saw me one evening very late. I was always there, and she kind of noticed, I guess, my energy, and gave me the opportunity to become an Assistant Director of Dance at the Brit School. And yeah, so that really was the beginning for me. And as well as teaching within the day, I came up with a few different incentives. So there's there's like the Brit School run a kind of Saturday program called Brit Kids, and my friend Justine Cook and I came up with that initiative, which was obviously way back then. So yeah, it was the beginning. It was a real springboard for me. I'm still very passionate about the school. It's really forward thinking. It's all about developing individuality and creativity. So yeah, I had the best time there.
Amazing. What a lovely experience. Yeah, fantastic. And certainly lovely for you to be able to follow your passion and work in something that you actually enjoy doing as well.
Well,
Very
it was really, yeah, it was, obviously it's sort of, you get older, don't you? And you start to reflect, and it was a really nostalgic time. I mean, it was the time of Brit pop. So, you have the opportunity at the Brit School to go to the Brit Awards every year. We always used to take, coach loads of students. And at the time we were always in the pit, as you called it.
Nice.
Yeah, but it was so fantastic because you got to be very close to everybody then. And like I said, I was only 21. So, I saw Michael Jackson live. I saw Jarvis Cocker push him off stage towards us. That was fun. Got to see Robbie Williams, Beyonce. So it was an amazing time. And, interestingly, there are so many memories from that particular period. I think the first production that went to see, it started with Simply Red, and they were doing Fairground, and there was this wonderful moment with all of the dancers kind of surrounding Mick Hucknall and him flowing his hair back and his flame red hair. And what's funny now is that I teach musical theatre workshops and musical theatre camps with somebody called Damien Delaney. And he was actually in that sequence, which was choreographed by Arlene Phillips. So there we go. It's all very funny. Full circle, hey?
Gosh, there must be lots of young people watching this right now thinking you're just inspiring them now to go out and get into theatre, start their dancing and follow their careers. That would be amazing.
Well, I hope so. And I'm really lucky because in Uckfield, obviously, we've got a fantastic community here. And Stephanie Aguilera, she runs the careers sort of wing, if you like, at Uckfield College. And lately I've been going in there and speaking to students, and they really are passionate. So I really hope that anybody sitting out there that perhaps thinks they've got something going on, like maybe they do dance classes, or maybe they're just sitting at home and they enjoy listening to music. I hope that you do have a little think about it, because actually it's such a fabulous vocation. You get to meet the most amazing people and connect with the most amazing people. And dance actually is also something that links very well with business, which we'll talk about later, but it does help to develop your skills in relation to entrepreneurship. So go for it if you are sitting at home. And if you're a parent listening, then absolutely, if any of your children show any flair for it, then absolutely encourage them.
Oh, I wish my parents had thought about that when I was young. That's something I definitely missed out on with my 2 left feet.
No, wow, you doesn't. We'll talk about that too. But 2 left feet. It's funny, isn't it? Because that's something I talk about a lot with Peter Lovett. I've been lucky to study with Dr. Dance, and he would say it's interesting. It tends to be a generational thing, but lots of people say, "Oh, I don't dance," or "I've got 2 left feet." But actually, we're all made to walk, to move, yeah. And actually, you don't have to be the best dancer. You can just enjoy it for fitness and for well-being. And yeah, so don't, Claire, come on. This could be the day you begin to dance.
My husband wants to drag me to Cuba, and I'm dreading it because it's all about the dance.
Yes. Oh my goodness!
Oh,
yes,
no,
that's like guys and girls moments. Yeah,
I'm going to have
take me to Havana.
years of private lessons before I go.
Oh, definitely. Oh, get the tequila out. Fabulous.
Yeah, that's the way forward, isn't it? Tequila, obviously. Anyway, that's diverging off your subject of you and your business. So, yeah, I mean, obviously you were at the Brit School, you were teaching there, obviously an amazing experience and a fantastic time of your life. But what happened next?
Oh, okay. Well, so yeah, I was there, and it's Brit School. Anyone that has taught there or anybody that's been there, I mean, the thing that's so interesting is you'll find this with Brit School family and Brit School alumni. We're absolutely everywhere. So up at East Sussex, the business development manager, I'm going to give her a shout out, is Emma Lake. I know she's not Emma Lake now; she's Emma something else, and I'm sure Ian would tell me in a second. But she was Brit School alumni too. And this is the thing that I want to talk about later, is that there are so many transferable skills between dance and business. And, it's about community and it's about connection. And it is really special, actually, to be part of something where there is such a strong community. So absolutely, I think the reason I talk about the school a lot is because it provided the most amazing network, as we have here at Uckfield with the chamber. And so yeah, I really have been very fortunate in my life. So wherever I've gone to next, there tend to be sort of little connections from that. So yeah, Claire, as I said, Claire Venables really encouraged this idea of entrepreneurship with her staff. And she was a fantastic leader, and she always empowered us all to develop our own skills, to really develop a growth mindset and think about the sort of wider picture, the bigger picture, if you like. As did Stuart Warden, who's the principal of the Brit School now. I got to work with Stuart, and he's really fun. He's all about improvisation and play and creativity. And these are things that get talked a lot about in business now, because it's that ability to be able to think outside the box and to really motivate your team, motivate your staff. So with my journey, it has come into business sort of later, but I think, like I say, I was given the opportunity at the Brit School to run the extracurricular program there. So that meant that we were providing enrichment opportunities for the students to take, IS2D modern classes, RAD ballet classes outside of their vocational curriculum. And then I moved to Brighton in my time, and obviously there's a fantastic rail link that takes you from Brighton to the Brit School. But somebody gave me a cutting for a director of dance job when I just moved to Brighton. And it just seemed too good not to look at it. I was an assistant director, and I was 28 at the time, and I was looking for career development. So I thought I'd go along and go for the interview. And I knew nothing about my next school. I knew it was a private school. I'd seen it, obviously, in Brighton. But it wasn't until I went through the gates of Brighton College when I kind of was like, wow, this is amazing. It was completely polar opposite, I felt, to the Brit School. It seemed to be a very traditional environment. But the headmaster at the time was Dr. Anthony Selden. And he was somebody that is a very strong advocate for the arts, and also a very strong advocate for, obviously, education and education development. And at the time, Anthony was starting to do quite a lot of research with the University of Philadelphia about happiness. And that was something that really came into his teachings and the way that he was looking at developing the curriculum at Brighton College. So, yeah, I mean, I had an interview with some very amazing people who I knew, who I really respected in the industry. And I don't know, Anthony saw something in me. I think actually he said I was just cheap because I was young, but that honesty came later. But I was very grateful that he gave me the opportunity to become the director of dance at Brighton College at that time. And it was really an amazing stepping stone, because he wanted to develop the community links with Brighton, and he wanted us to look at developing dance not only at Brighton College but also outside in the community. And so that was my first taste, if you like, of business. So it was all about, you know, sort of building the business, creating this great community, bringing lots of people into dance. And so I had the opportunity to develop what was a very small studio. I had 83 pupils, and they were based at Brighton College, but to bring more people from the community in. And so we developed the dance centre at Brighton College. And yeah, it just grew. It was a fantastic thing, really. We had one studio initially, and eventually we were operating from 6 spaces within the school. We offered ballet, modern, tap, jazz. We did Egyptian Hilal dance. We had lots of choreographers coming in. We got mentioned in the Telegraph alongside Pineapple Dance Studios. It was just a most exciting time. And I just learned lots. I met lots of amazing people. We had Jeffrey Daniels come across from the States, who had choreographed for Michael Jackson. He took classes in the studio. We had people come from Hubbard Dance Company. Lucas Crandall, who's danced with Rombear Dance Company. He came and led workshops in the studio. Tanisha Bonner, one of my students from the Brit School, was performing with Zoo Nation with Kate Prince, who's obviously hugely successful in the dance industry now. Her works is regularly performed at Sadler's Wells. It's also performed on Broadway. She's on the panel of UK Young Dancer, which is an all England dance affiliated competition, which runs alongside all their festivals. So yeah, all these amazing practitioners coming in. Like I say, Tanisha came in. She works with Andrea Poirier, who's worked with a lot of the industry professionals that you see when you watch all those lovely programs, So You Think You Can Dance. And yeah, so it was a mixture of alumni, a mixture of people that were coming to perform at Brighton Dome, would then come and bring their dance companies up to us. Matthew Bourne used our studio to create Dorian Gray, his piece. Massively exciting times. So that was brilliant. And I spent 17 years at Brighton College and had the best time. Anthony, like I say, was very much about developing education. He talked a lot about happiness. And I think that just kind of all infiltrated in and sort of sat there. So the happiness thing began in 2005. And at that point in my life, I didn't have children. But then I did have 2 children. So I had my daughter, Ella. And I think that was obviously 2008. That was about 7 years in to me being at the college. And then I had Charlie a bit later, 2013. And during those times, the college really evolved. So Anthony moved on. He went to teach at Wellington College and then Buckinghamshire. And then Richard Cairns came in and took over in 2005. And Richard Cairns has taken the college to just another level. So now Brighton College is a global organisation. There are many different versions of Brighton College in Abu Dhabi, and also sort of out in in Asia as well. And what I learned from Richard was he's an incredible businessman. So he moves very quickly, and there's got to be that flexibility in how you kind of look at the political change, the political climate, and how you kind of, navigate through that. And again, a very different leader to Anthony, but somebody that was really inspirational in terms of looking at sort of economics and things like that. So, yeah, I think I've given you a very long-winded response, but I think I've just been very fortunate to have worked with some very inspirational leaders who have given me a lot of space to create and develop really exciting programs. And I've worked with some really fantastic students. But my takeaway from both those organizations is that, and this is what kind of comes to Happy Me, our organization, is that I believe strongly that you can have excellence and you can also have individuality and creativity. You can have both those things. So the Brit School is very open-ended, it's very playful, it gives people space to have freedom and liberty. And I'd say Brighton College has very tight structure and discipline and tradition, but within that, you're able to also find those moments where people are encouraged to develop their entrepreneurship, whether that be through sort of like their Make a Difference programs, where they're really connecting with the community, or whether that's through the entrepreneurship programs that they run, where they bring business owners in to talk to students. So yeah, that was inside of me. And my personal sort of shift and change came because of my family. So like everybody, I think you go through these transitions in your life, and I'd gone through a period of probably 3 years of transition. I'd had my mum, who's really well now, but she had breast cancer, and I had a miscarriage, and all those different things that just happen in life had happened. And I was going through a sort of period of reflection of like, how can I now sort of enjoy my family life and also enjoy my really exciting career? And I wasn't really sure how I was going to match that. So it was quite a juggle trying to work out what I was going to do next. And I think I kind of recognized when I got to sort of 43 that I was going through this transition, which I guess is probably, as a woman, probably perimenopause.
We've all been there.
We've all been there, yes, we've all been there. And of course, nowadays it's talked about, isn't it, so much. You've got people like Anna Whitehouse, and you've got, people that are actually kind of trying to connect with, kind of like, the government, and sort of talk about it actually and be quite open about it, and looking at flexible working patterns and all those things. And I have to say that, like Richard Cairns was so supportive of me for a long, long time with that. So I'm really grateful. But it's just, personally, you have to make those decisions in life. And at the time, it's really hard. But for me, it was a really good time to start to think, right, I'm going to really embrace all this change, and I'm just going to try and create something. And I didn't really know what I was going to create at all. But I just knew that it had to be something different, and it had to be something creative. And I did dabble with kind of like doing like interior design and things like that. And then I kind of
career shift then. Yeah.
I was just really open. I was really fortunate because my husband was like so supportive with it. And, I had some really good time to really think about what I wanted to do. But dance, if anybody knows me, is so ingrained within me. It's like, it's been my life and part of my identity, I guess, since like I say, from the age of 3. So I got back into a studio and I started just dancing myself, and starting out adult dance classes, really, people that were going through transition like myself. So whether that was perimenopause, or whether that was a life transition, like maybe they'd had, I don't know, chronic illness, or I meet people. We all meet people, don't we, that we work with every day. Maybe someone's been widowed, or maybe somebody's just doing it because they want to come and stay fit or have fun. So we started the adult classes, which, people were resonating with it, or understanding that. I was teaching in Uckfield, teaching in Tunbridge Wells as well. And just this great energy, and just lots of people really understanding sort of that sense of just wanting to do class for themselves, stay physically fit, stay mentally fit, have a good time, connect with people. We started to build out, we do lunch. So it's not just, you don't just come to dance class, we have lunches. It's kind of, that whole sort of thing, really. And then obviously the pandemic hit. So we all kind of went inside, and, we had to be creative with our businesses online. And so I started offering, obviously, the adult classes online straight away. And then families started to sort of pop up as well. And I was also working in primary schools too. So I was then asked to do some online classes for primary school children. And that, I believe, was this amazing business opportunities. Everything started to make sense, and everything started to come together because, I knew I was doing this business, which had a well-being focus and was about connecting with people. But then it became something that became really like a proper need. People wanted to communicate with each other. They wanted to stay together. They wanted to stay fit because they were sedimentary. They were stuck at home. And yeah, the values of the company became stronger, I think. And so, yeah, that was very much it. And in December 2020, I decided to totally go for it. And Happy Me Dance was then became a limited company. And yeah, and since then we've continued with that. So it's grown hugely. We are offering classes now for children from 4 years old and up to adults. 102 is my oldest. Yes, in a residential
There's
home.
hope for me yet.
There's hope for you yet. Yes, absolutely. That's what
Oh,
I
wow,
mean.
that's so
You
impressive.
don't have to be amazing. You can just come into the room and we will, I promise, within 3 sessions, I'm going to put it out there, but within 3 sessions,
Oh,
you will be able to move with everybody else at the same time and you'll feel amazing. So yeah, that's it really. I guess
oh.
that's how we began.
Gosh, I can feel your energy just pouring out. No wonder this is what you do for a living. Incredible. I mean, you're right. The pandemic changed so many things, didn't it? I mean, certainly for me and my business, it turned it completely around. I had to look at things completely differently, like you too, and then find something positive out of that. And clearly, you've done that. So that's incredible. So yeah, I mean, it's the well-being aspect of dance now that I believe you're focusing on, isn't it? So I mean, how does that work? How do you look at that?
Absolutely. So I think, like you say, the pandemic was really clear because we found suddenly that everybody was in this kind of this sense of it being a collective understanding suddenly of what that felt like to basically be imprisoned in your home. I mean, people, everyone has a different outlook on life. People are very successful, people, everyone's got their thing, or this sense of, I think, let's come back to this idea of identity. Yeah, it's something that's talked about a lot in the media at the moment. And everyone knew where they stood in life and they had their career and they had their jobs or they had this. But I think what the pandemic enabled us to do was that everybody suddenly was looking at life through the same lens. Yes. So we were all at home and we were all having to address that. And I think it made us start to realize that perhaps if you weren't somebody that had this identity or connecting, if I'm a dancer, that actually you did probably realize that you did need to move because you'd been sat still, you were working on your laptop or whatever. And then you're suddenly realizing, actually, I do need to get out. I need to have a walk. I need to connect with nature. I need to see something different. I need to change my scenery. I can't stay within this same environment. Yeah. And so it opened lots of sort of questions for that. And I think that's something that is one of our things that we've really connected with is environment is very, very important to Happy Me. So our classes tend to operate in what I consider to be really lovely, nurturing, or beautiful environments and lovely landscapes. So we run classes in Uckfield up at East Sussex National at Horsted House Spa. So you've got this lovely, peaceful environment when you go in. Lovely staff, obviously, Isaac and crew on the front desk to welcome you, which is really great. And yeah, an energized gym. We've got this new gym up there. The Hydrox gym is new. If you go into the gym now, you've got such a dynamic energy. We've got so many new members. It's a lovely, buzzy environment. And then you go through to the studio and you've got a fantastic class team to teach you. So you can do your spin classes, your Pilates classes, your dance classes. It's a great environment. And I would definitely say, if you are working at home or if you are, well, you've got family, but you want to escape from your family. No, I'm joking. Or if if you're feeling like really disconnected from things, then absolutely come up, become a member, come and have a look around and come and join, because you're going to just be part of a most amazing community that you're going to have so much fun with. And there are so many events that run up at East Sussex. I mean, the Chamber run loads of events there.
Yeah,
so
we spent a lot of time up there.
yeah, I mean, it's brilliant, isn't it? So so I think environment for us is very important. And then also going into schools, it's about creating a really nurturing environment. So I teach through the pandemic, I was in and out of different schools and was seeing firsthand really what the children were going through. So obviously you start to pick up on potential pressures that are at home. So parents are trying to do their own work, educate their children, etc. And then when the children were coming back in after the lockdowns, you could tell that lots of time had potentially been on screens, or perhaps boundaries have been loosened because everyone was just trying to keep afloat and juggle lots of things and just make it work. So in school, it became very important to make sure that the environment was very safe, was very secure. and that children felt kind of looked after and nurtured. And obviously there was the additional challenge that you had to still remain socially distanced. Yes. So the lovely forward thinking thing, we had lots of amazing headmistresses that worked out and headmasters that worked out how to do that, was actually there was a lot we could do in the playground. So we could remain socially distanced, but we could, play basketball, we could create movement games, or, we could put some music on a stereo and we could all collectively move together. And so things became much more playful, much more creative. And then basically those ideas and what we were doing outside, we were then thinking about how can we bring that into the classroom, how can that become part of our teaching when we get back into the space. And that has really had an influence on the way that we look at how children learn. We still operate, don't we, within this very disciplined, very kind of formulaic structure in many educational institutions. But actually, how can we still within that, have those boundaries, have that discipline, have that rigor, have that sense of academia, but can you be a little bit more flexible, a little bit more playful in the way that you use your time? And actually, I think you can. So, yeah, I think there were a lot of learnings from that particular experience that then I was pulling on from my experiences when I was in America and I was studying theatre, and we were going outside, like I used to have this crazy teacher called Jo Lenhart, who was amazing. And you never knew what she was going to come up with. So there was always an anticipation. There was always an excitement about her lessons because they were never the same. And, sometimes you would go into the studio and then she'd go, right, today we're in the amphitheatre. We're going to go and sing, and you think, well, I thought we were going to do Brecht. Okay, we're going to sing. So, we'd go outside and we'd start singing. Or we would, oh, this is brilliant. We're going to go up to the lighting desk today and we're going to teach you a bit about this. And, and then we're going to look at how that relates to, whatever play we were studying. So that sort of experimental, that kind of sense of freedom, that sense of, having the discipline but loosening the boundaries at different points to create further learning is something, again, that we like to look at in Happy Me. So it's about...
You've obviously brought in all those experiences from your past work life and all that time, all those different experiences you brought into your business by the sounds of it. I
think so. And I think, like, if anyone was coming from the outside and watching a 45-minute dance class, you would think it's just a 45-minute dance class and they're doing 2 warm-ups, they're doing traveling, they're doing a routine, they're doing a cool down. So, there's definitely a sense of rigor, and there's definitely a sense of energy, and there's definitely a sense of achievement and clear outcomes in your lesson. But the psychology that's weaving into that, which might go unseen by some people, is the understanding who's in the room, what the energy is that the children are bringing into the room on that particular day, at that particular time. You don't know what's just happened. Maybe they've just had a dentist appointment. Maybe some catastrophe has happened in the car park and they've just spilt their favorite drink. But you're looking at the energy and then you're bringing it together as a group and you're making sure that everyone's connecting and having fun. And that is the essence of what we do. It's about rigor, but with fun, and about curating a community.
Amazing. Michelle, I could talk to you for another half an hour. Unfortunately, I know our time's up now. I can feel Ian breathing down my neck to come back on the screen. Amazing. And thank you so much for talking to us today, Michelle. Really, really interesting, fascinating interview. And you are lovely and energetic, like I said. So I hopefully we'll be seeing you at events, forthcoming events, and we can talk more there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Claire. I've really enjoyed seeing you.
Thank you so much. And I think we're going to be welcoming Ian back shortly. Here he is.
Yeah, that's fascinating. What a great chat, ladies. I've really enjoyed listening to that. Michelle, look, stay with us, won't you? Just don't disappear just yet. Stay with us. It's Emma Tower you're thinking of at East Sussex. And I'm just going to mention this as well. You touched on the menopause, the M word. And we've done some stuff on this in the chamber. We've had some networking breakfast with Catherine Colas. who is a menopause expert, talk about managing menopause in the workplace. So, but you've reminded me, we need to do some more of that kind of stuff, because it is so important, and people brush it under the carpet when really they need to face the music and talk about this kind of stuff. So, Michelle, thanks for bringing those things to us today. And Claire's going to sign up to your dance classes. I know she is. She's I can sense it.
Oh no.
Yes, Claire, come on.
I've grown up in a house with a daughter who's similar to you, danced from a very young age, teaches dance. So I get a lot of that kind of stuff. Look, we could talk for longer, but we're not going to today, because we've got to just keep these podcasts to a relatively short period of time. And what we always do at the end of this podcast is to talk about the chamber events that are coming up. So bear with me. We're just going to do this, and I'll rattle through them fairly quickly. So tomorrow's breakfast is sold out. If you haven't got a ticket for tomorrow morning, Michelle, if you really wanted to come because you've been such a great guest today, then give me a call later. But look, it is sold out. We've got 40 people in the Pitch House restaurant tomorrow morning for breakfast at 7:30. It's going to be a really good event. Following that, quickly on Saturday, Karen Bedwell is our mayor. She does a brilliant job for this town. She really does. She puts her heart and soul into championing Uckfield, and she has a mayor's reception this Saturday evening in the Civic Centre. Tickets are still available for just £25. It will be a really good and fun evening, I am told. So if you'd like to go, head over to the Civic Centre website, buy your tickets there, and Karen would be very grateful for you supporting that occasion on Saturday evening. So not a chamber event, but one we're behind. One thing the pandemic gave us at Uckfield Chamber of Commerce is the opportunity to network online. And we do this monthly on usually the first Wednesday of the month. And the next time we meet together like this is Wednesday, the 7th of May, between 9 and 10 a.m. So a nice civilized start time where everyone gets the opportunity of speaking for 60 seconds or maybe a little bit more, and we hear from a guest speaker. So chamber members get the link sent to them automatically, but non-members are welcome, but they just need to contact us for that link. And then we move on to a brand new event that we're hosting. I don't know what you think about this, Claire, but do you think we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater by not having business lunches anymore? What's your view on this?
Oh no, I think business lunches are great, don't you?
I do. This is why we're bringing this back.
Networking is so popular. I mean, it's really, really popular, particularly in our town where there's so much going on. Yeah. I mean, and there's lots of different organisations, obviously, but us as the chamber, I think we should be definitely leading leading events and providing as much opportunity as possible, really. So yeah, because not everybody can make breakfast, not everybody can make evenings. So yeah.
So that's why we're bringing this back. We've never done this before, but we felt there was a little gap there in our programme of events. So our inaugural lunch is on Tuesday, the 13th of May at Relish Bar and Grill. Have you ever eaten there, Michelle?
Do you know, I haven't, but I think I might now.
Yeah,
I might pop down. Yeah,
it's you know, when you eat out, sometimes you think, oh, that's really bad for me. It's unhealthy stuff like burgers and fish and chips. But this isn't. It's generally, you can have a nice lean piece of chicken kebab and rice and salads, and it's wonderful, really good. So that's the date, 13th of May. You need to book online if you like to come along, and then you just pay your own bill on the day. That's how we're doing this. So new event for the chamber, a lunch coming up next month. And then we move on to our late spring members meeting. This is always a lovely meeting. Usually we go in July, but we're bringing it forward a bit this year to the 22nd of May, a Thursday evening at the Bluebell Vineyard. Most wonderful setting for networking. You've been there before, Claire, haven't you?
Gorgeous. It's a beautiful place. Yeah, really lovely venue to meet at. Yeah, and they always look after us there as well, really well, don't they?
They do. And we get a glass of Bluebell bubbly on arrival, which is a really good one. And then our catering on that occasion is from the Wealden Kitchen. And then the next final thing to mention today really is our next pod. So if you've enjoyed today, come and watch again when we go live later in May, on the 29th of May this time, when Maria Mann will be our guest. Maria Mann, who has the beauty spot business in town and is a quite well-known Uckfield business personality, shall we say. So look, that's where we are today. Claire, thank you so much for joining us on the pod by hosting the questions. And Michelle, thank you again to you for being with us. Have you enjoyed yourself?
I've had a great time. Thank
Good.
you for having me. Very
Good. Okay, well, look, ladies, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching, anyone, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.